Welcome to episode 10 of the Homestead Shop Talk with Ben Hollar from Hollar Homestead, Al from Lumnah Acres, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. We made it, guys, to number 10.
We made it.
And so far, I'm having fun with these podcasts. Aren't you guys?
Yeah, I am. I look forward
Yeah,
to them every
I'm having a
week.
blast.
So today's topic, we're going to be talking about our most used tools on the homestead. And this can be, we're just going to talk about that. Like it could be anything, building, gardening, cooking. I mean, just kind of just whatever we use the most. And does not necessarily mean that it's our favorite tool, but let's see how many of these tools will be the same. But first, we'll talk about our week. Anything exciting going on this week, guys, that you guys did?
I mean, I have a little bit of excitement. Got more pigs than I know what to do with
Ben
right
has
now.
some excitement. Go for it, Ben.
So, both of our pigs, our breeders, are doing what we're paying them for. Both of our females are farrowing right now, and one of them had 9 yesterday, lost one, and then the second one is currently farrowing right now. Like I came in from being out there watching her, and she had already had 7. I don't know if that's it or if she's going to have more, but yeah, so 8 and 7.
Wow.
We got a grip of guinea hogs. So we're super excited about that, and it's always exciting. We will be keeping a few of these ones for ourselves, but we'll probably be selling the rest of them. I know the more I've started selling them to friends and stuff like that, all of a sudden people are asking for pigs before they're even born. It's like, well, hold on. We're gonna need some. Like the whole reason we're doing this is so when I need pork, I don't have to go looking for it. I can go down the hill and I've got some ready. So yeah, that's been the biggest excitement of the week. I think I've been waiting for this for a while.
Now,
This
do you
is
plan
pretty
that?
much our last batch.
Did you plan that, or are you just kind of letting it happen with the pigs?
We kind of planned it. We've had the boar with the ladies with the intention of making mo pigs. That was always the intention. That's the reason we keep a boar. Uh, we just separated a couple, I don't know, maybe like a month ago, something like that. That way, we don't have any more surprise pigs over the winter. But judging by the date, um, it's almost down to the day that I pulled those pigs and weaned them. They got pregnant again. So our boar's doing his job.
Wow.
So yeah, we kind of plan it. We'll probably put them back together around January. That way we can get some spring piglets coming on.
Yeah, that's what we plan
So
on
you
doing with ours. We have them separated since having the Cooney babies that we did.
so you plan for 2 litters a year, basically.
Possibly. For our own consumption, we really only need 1 litter a year. But being able
Yep.
to, recoup some of the cost of feed by selling some of them, that kind of works. The last batch we had, it was our spring batch. They were born March 3rd, I think. We ended up selling both litters to one family. They wanted a mess of pigs, and so they came down and they got all of them. But kind of the way we want it to go is because it's a 2-year grow out, then every year we need to be replenishing that stock. And so this coming fall, we will finally be in that cycle of, have pigs this year, 2 years later that this year's batch is ready. We say that 2023's babies are 2025's pork. That's how we have to look at it.
Now, being where you are, can you sell them easily in the fall still? Like I know where we are, it's harder for people to sell fall pigs because nobody wants to raise them through the winter. So when they do sell them, they got to sell them a lot less. So I'm just curious, being where you guys are, what do you find?
I haven't had a hard time selling them at any time of year. The main thing I hear from people is I can't find pigs anywhere. Everybody we've sold to, it's the same thing. They can't find pigs anywhere. They can't, you know, especially guinea hogs. You know, guinea hogs, they're so easy. I figured more people would have them. Uh, but what I hear a lot is like around here, a lot of people have like potbelly pigs and stuff like that. And nobody's really raising pigs for meat. Even though, you know, like you'd think that North Carolina is one of their biggest ag products is pork. You'd think there would be more pigs available for people, but that's just the mega farms.
I
So
wish
do you
there was
sell them for
a.
the same price for in the spring and fall?
Yeah. If I
Yeah.
see, that's where it's kind of hard. If I have a whole bunch of feed in them, I would like to sell them for more. Um, but if they're just freshly weaned pigs, yeah, they, you know, I sell them pretty reasonable. Uh, the going price around here is a little bit higher than I'm charging. Um, just I don't know. It's like it's an 8 week pig. That's a little steep. Uh, so
Yep.
maybe that's why. Maybe I need to raise my prices. But most of the time, it's friends that I'm selling to. So I'm not looking to gouge friends. So uh, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I wish there was a website that you could go to and just buy pigs. Because it's so hard to get them,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
Like
They broke
like a
that on
regular feeder
Facebook a
pig.
long time ago.
Yeah, it's just so hard because when you want them, they're not available, and then when you don't want them, you'll get a random phone call saying, "Hey, I have pigs." I'm like, I'm not ready for pigs right now, but then you better get them because who knows when they're going to be available. That's how it's been for me,
Yep,
anyways.
Yep.
yep.
We've been using the same pig dealer for probably 5 years now, and I called him up
Wow.
this year, and he was like, "Oh, I lost a bunch of my breeding stock over winter," and I was like, "Ugh." So I was like scrambling to find somebody to get our pigs from this year. But luckily we found somebody. We got there. We was trying to get 3 or 4, but by the time we got to them, she said yes, and then she lost 1 or 2, and we were the last guy that had signed up, last person to sign up for them. So when those piglets died, it was less for us. So luckily we got 2, but yeah, it's hard to get piglets, that's for sure. We finished the shell for the off-grid workshop the other day, so that feels good to have that all dried in. Now we're gonna start getting some interior walls built so that way we can get our solar system planned out and figured out, and hopefully get that done before winter. That's the goal. I want to have the solar panels on the roof before snow flies because I don't want to be getting on the roof when it's snowing out.
Mm-mm.
So what's the solar for? Like, is
And
it to power the whole shop?
yeah, so the solar will be to power the whole workshop. The workshop's probably, if we went to a straight line to the house, we're probably 800 feet away. So we really can't run the power from the house down to the workshop without costing a ton in wire and then losing a bunch of efficiencies. So we're gonna have its own little power bank down there so we can weld and do everything that we want.
Wow, that would be neat to have a shop all solar. I thought it'd be neat to have just hey, I just want solar on my house, even just to power lights, you know,
Yep.
just something simple.
We live too, right? We live too far up in the woods to get hooked to electricity. It would cost way too much. So solar's the only way to do it for us.
Wow. Okay.
That's the one downfall with being so far away from the road.
I mean, has that solar has been? I mean, has it been a pain, or are you just used to it?
No, we haven't. The system everything in our house is electric. So we have 2 electric refrigerators. We got 3 electric deep freezers, and then like the oven's electric, the dryer's electric. So we have it so everything's set up to run off electricity. And in the summertime, we can run everything, not a problem. In the wintertime, we got to run the generator to power to charge the batteries up the days that we don't have enough sun. So in the wintertime, this year we used about 300 gallons of propane to charge up throughout the winter, which I don't think is bad. So if we had, a lot of people when they're off grid, they have like a propane refrigerator, and they have propane freezers, and they have a propane dryer, and then they have a propane oven. Well, my thinking was if you have all that propane, you got to use propane year round. If we're electric, we make more than enough solar power in the summer. So to be able to run everything with electric throughout the summer and only have to use the propane generator in the wintertime. I'm thinking it might save us some. I'm not sure, but we don't
Right.
use. I'd be curious to find out, like somebody else that kind of lives the same way, if they have a lot of propane stuff, how much propane they use a year.
I'm kind of
Yeah, because
curious about your
we're
battery
all,
setup.
all electric.
Now, what do you mean by that, Ben?
Like, what kind of batteries are you using? How big? How many? This is something that I've always wanted to do. Like, I love the off-grid thing. We just
Yep.
haven't been in a position where we can jump into it.
So we have about 81 kilowatts of storage for batteries.
Nice.
The funny thing there is you get the battery storage, but you really only get to use 70% of it. So you have 81 kilowatts worth of storage, but you only get to use 70% of that because you don't want to drain your batteries down to zero. Because if you do, you're gonna kill them. You know, you're gonna
Be buying
take
new
the
batteries.
efficiency away from them. They're not gonna last as long. Yeah. So the less you drain your batteries, the longer life you'll get out of them. So we normally don't go less than 50% if we can help it. Like if I'm like, oh, the batteries are getting low, I'm gonna have to run the generator anyways. I'll run it earlier and top the batteries off, kind of thing. So that way it'll make the batteries last longer. In there, so they're Lion Energy, and they are a lithium battery. So we've had good luck so far. We got the inverters, and this nice thing about the Lion Energy is it's the batteries and the inverters are made by the same company, so you don't have
Nice.
any issues with anything like with the computers or anything interacting with each other. It's all made to work together. So that's one of the things that's been nice about that system. We're waiting on the garage doors again, but luckily they should be here, I think, in another week. They were supposed to be here 2 weeks ago, but it seems like one of those things ever since everything going on, garage doors have been one of those things that take forever. The garage door in the Harvest House, I think, took us like a year to get when we ordered it.
Wow.
So I think these will be about 6 weeks out. So it's better than a year, but
What kind of doors are they? Like roll-up doors?
they're just regular garage doors. Yeah, roll up garage doors.
Okay.
Yeah, we put one in the Harvest House because later on we plan on building a house, and then we'll use what we're living in now. We designed that to be like a commercial kitchen in the future. So we put a garage door in it, so that way if we want to bring in like a half a pig in or half a cow or a whole cow in, we can just pick up the garage door and walk right in and put the carcass right on the island and go to work.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then we just got back from the hospital today. Gina's had her huge surgery last year. It's been almost a year, so today she did like her yearly checkup, or her first yearly checkup with her doctors, and everything is looking great. So we're happy there. So it was one of those like trips. Like we didn't think it'd be. We thought she'd be fine. But it's like one of those things in the back of your mind. You just never know. It's like I
Yeah.
hope everything goes good. We don't need any more bad news with that stuff. So luckily, we
Yep.
got the report,
That's
and
good.
it's all looking good.
Yeah,
Yep.
wonderful.
It's really good to hear.
And then we're working on the dark roast. I'm gonna be making some different blends. So hopefully, like in a couple of weeks, we'll have that all dialed in, and I'll be sending you guys some.
Yes, just in time for winter.
That's
Yep,
right.
looking forward to it.
I drink coffee every morning, but it doesn't taste as good in the summer as it does in the winter for sure.
Right.
Yep.
Now, do you drink much cold coffee in the summer? Are you more just a
No,
hot coffee guy?
I did try. I've never made it. I just recently made yours that you had sent, and
Yep.
but prior to that, no. I'm not a big. I'm not a cold cold brew. I've never liked it. I've ordered it before, like at like a coffee shop or something, but I've never really was into it. I just like hot coffee.
So, what have you been up to this week there, Jason?
Yeah, so we had just got back to the beach from the beach, and that was fun. I do. We were gone we're 4 days at the beach, and I feel like it was not long enough. Um,
It's never long
uh,
enough.
you know, beach was good, but I must say though, like man, there were so many smokers at the beach. Like so many people smoking. Like it was amazing. Like I remember we had a nice balcony, and we're right there on the beach. And every time I went on my balcony, like right next to me on both sides, there was another balcony, and there was always somebody out there smoking. And I'm like, oh man, like it started coming in the place where we're staying. I'm like, you're walking out to the beach and everyone's smoking. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? But
So is smoking big where you guys live?
over here, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
bigger than what I'm used to growing up in California. I feel like a lot of people
Yeah,
smoke out here. I mean,
coming from California, it's banned everywhere. So I bet it's kind of weird.
yeah, this area is known for growing tobacco. There's
Right. You're in
old
tobacco.
tobacco barns. So I think it's just part of the area. But either way, I mean, we had fun though. Like beach is great to go, and it was fun just to get away. Uh, and then I came back to it and started building that shed, that lean-to shed. I'm almost done with it. I just got to put on the metal roofing. Um, and so hopefully I'll wrap that up this week. Hopefully, well, I still got to then do the gutters and pipe it into the rain tank that I have. I don't know what it was about this week. I want to blame it on the full moon that's happening tonight, but uh, I cracked my front windshield on my Toyota truck,
Ooh.
Bummer.
my Tacoma. I had to go to Lowe's and pick up 16, just like three 16-foot 2x4s for the shed. And, they didn't fit in the truck. I only have a 5-foot bed. So I stuck it all the way through, you stick it through the little window, and you stick it through all the way through the car, and it hangs out the back. And when it was fine all the way home, and then when I was driving it up the property to the shed, it was kind of off-roady, kind of, and it bounced, and the 2x4 just smacked the front windshield and it cracked it.
Bummer.
And then I know, I was like, that's never happened to me. And then today, I was running errands, and I back up into one of those what do you call it? Those yellow posts that
Oh
are,
no.
it's just like a concrete yellow post.
Metal and full of concrete.
Yeah, I backed up into it, and I messed up my bumper on the same truck. And I was like, it happened all this week. And I was like, what the heck?
It's that
I was like, I can't
Superman. It's
believe
that
it.
super
I was like,
moon.
yeah, I blame it
Yeah.
on that. Because
It's been
I've
bright.
never, I mean, I've never have done that before. And being that that's on like our only car, I'm like, man, I'm like destroying my truck in like 1 week. So yeah, doing all that. What else? I was on a podcast this week, which is out, just came out today. Grazing Grass Podcast, it's called. I had never heard of it prior, but I think that was like their 70th episode.
Nice.
And they mainly talk to like big ranches, people who have big ranches and big farms, like big agricultural farms. But he's trying to branch out into like just doing different things, like talking to different people. So that's why I was on, you know. So that was cool.
What'd you
That's
talk? Did you
cool.
talk coonies, or did you talk all animals?
No, just kind of like my story, and
Okay.
then um, like yeah, I guess it's kind of catered towards pasture raised animals. So we talked about chickens that I raise. We talked a little bit about the coonies, but mainly it was about the chickens, and then kind of what I'm doing here, like moving animals and stuff. Um, but
Did
yeah,
he talk you into getting a milk cow?
no, we didn't even talk about milk cows. That's only you.
We gotta bring that up like every episode.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. What I noticed about like big like ranches and stuff, like they just mainly do cattle. Like they're not doing meat birds, like the podcast guy I was talking to, he has like I think he rents other farms around him, and he does like cattle. He's done like meat birds like once, but he doesn't do it. And so it's just kind of interesting. You kind of assume like these big guys like that do like bigger animals like that, they do chickens as well, or they know about them or more about them, but they don't necessarily. Um, they mainly just do the bigger animals, which is kind of interesting. They don't even mess with the chickens. Um, what else?
They'd probably make more money quicker if they
Oh
did
yeah.
meat birds too. It's
Oh
a
right.
quicker turnaround.
Yeah. I guess it might be less labor to do the beef
Right.
cows than
Yeah.
moving chicken coops every day. Maybe that's why too. But
Mhm.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I would think it must take a few years to make any money off of or getting the income coming back in if you're doing it from raising them from calf.
Oh, we did go. It was our daughter's birthday this week. She's 12 now, and we went to Dollywood. Have you guys been to Dollywood?
Mm-mm.
Is that
Nope,
in Tennessee?
not yet.
Yeah, Dolly Parton, Dollywood. It's her theme park. uh, it's pretty fun. It it's it's pretty neat. I mean, it's a good time. There's rides and stuff. So we spent the day out there. And at this time, it's nice when you homeschool because you could plan it and go to these type of like parks when all the other kids are back at school. and then and it's less
Yep.
crowded, so we planned it and there was like hardly anybody there, and it was nice. So that's fun. But yeah, we just did that, and my dad came to visit this week, and he's here just hanging out, um just for a few days, and then yeah, that's about it.
How's the new mini truck?
Mini truck is nice.
Is there
um
a difference?
so the mini truck that I did have, no, it was a 92, and this one that I got is a 97. But it's the same. It's really not much different other than that. Um,
Okay.
it is a 5 speed, and the other one was a 4 speed. Um, but it has half the miles. Half the miles. This new one has 10,000 miles, and the other one had like 25, I believe.
Yep.
Um, Other than that, it's a lot cleaner. It sounds a lot better, even from before I had issues. I mean, it still sounds a lot better than the other one. Um, but I hope it lasts. I hope I don't have to mess with
I
it.
bet.
I mean, other than,
Right.
other than typical stuff, I don't mind typical stuff, oil change, maybe some hoses, some belts or something like that, but like not a whole engine dump, like
Yeah.
I'm not looking to rebuild engines or anything like that. And I had people tell me like, man, these things are tanks, like it's going to take a lot for it to break down like that. So, and then you have another half of people telling me like, oh yeah, that's expected. Those trucks are not, so it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see with this one. I figure I'll give these trucks one more shot and see how long it lasts. And I mean, if it happens again and I'm like, I'm done with these trucks, um, I'm just
Yep,
gonna
I don't
go
blame
get a
you.
brand new Kubota or something. I don't know. I'll pay payments, whatever. At least it's brand new. But so we'll see. But so far so good. It's nice. I mean, I like the trucks. They're pretty cool.
So I guess perfect segue. Is that one of like your top 5 tools on the homestead, you think?
Uh, yeah, I would say it's up there. I don't know if it would be top five though, actually. It
No?
maybe number six.
Number 6. How often do you use it though?
Uh, See, I use it. Well, yeah, now that I have it, I use it every day. Prior to that, I was doing stuff just fine. It's the same thing with a tractor. I don't have a tractor, but it's one of those things where if I did have it, I would use it every day probably. Yeah, let's go into our most used tools. Definitely, right off the bat, first thing I thought of was a circular saw, battery powered circular saw. Um, I I think that's mainly what I use now. I don't. I mean, I have a miter saw, or, chop saw,
Yep.
and they're basically the same thing. Um, but I find myself using that circular saw more so, just because I feel like it's quicker, and you could carry it around. I don't think there's anything I didn't build with that.
I'm
So
with you
yeah,
there.
I love that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're not good at making straight cuts, just keep a square in your back pocket and grab that and
Yes.
use it as your guide for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those two things. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
They
The
kind of
speed
go
square.
hand in hand.
That.
It's nice, it's portable.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, you need to get one of those. Don't get a corded one either.
Right.
A cordless.
Yes.
Um,
Battery operated. You can bring it in the field. Do field
yeah.
repairs if you do.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Like, you're not going back and forth to the shop to cut something and then going out in the field and installing it. Like, no way.
Yeah, that's
Um,
changed my life when I got it.
I mean, I think it's the Premier One netting that I use. I would say that's a tool.
I almost put that on my
Um,
I had that
list.
on my list. That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, do you guys consider it a tool? Because I use it daily.
yeah.
So I agree with you, Jason. Definitely a homestead tool.
Yeah. I mean, without it, we wouldn't be able to have any animals really, because I think for
Right.
a lot of us, we don't have perimeter fencing,
Nope.
like permanent fencing like that. And without that, we won't be able to have animals or move them
Well, even if you,
around.
right, you wouldn't be able to move them as easily
No.
if you didn't have some kind of portable fencing.
I mean, they are expensive, but for what it does, I mean, they're pretty economical. I mean, more economical than putting in, 4x4 posts in the ground or something, and plus it's movable. So I think without that, definitely like we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do.
So, just thinking about stuff that I use on the daily. I actually did think about the netting, uh, but I elected to leave it off. My number one most used tool, honestly, is my zero turn mower. Um, it is not
Mm,
only, that was the only
yes.
motorized tool I had for a long time. Um, it is my tractor. It is my knock the grass down, dragging
Yep.
things around that I need dragged around. I mean, that thing has gotten me out of a lot of tough spots. Honestly, when we first got here, I couldn't have done what we needed to do without it. Um, Kind of on the same token, a good wagon is a must on the homestead. Um, we have a gorilla cart, and I use that sucker daily. I use it when I'm feeding animals. I use it for moving compost, like you name it. Like first thing to get when you get a homestead, get a gorilla cart, get a good wagon. Uh, those things will save your back.
Better than a wheelbarrow, I think.
Oh, for real. And then you can
Right.
hook it to your zero turn and drag heavy stuff around even
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, the zero turn that we got last year that's helped a ton. And that's why I got it, because it's dual purpose. You can mow the lawn and you can pull stuff with it.
Another one I had was actually kind of part of my EDC. I started carrying a Leatherman, and I can't believe I haven't carried a
Mm,
Leatherman sooner. I use this thing on the daily. It is so handy having pliers in my pocket, having a saw always on me.
yeah.
say I need to cut a limb out of the way, or there's like a sapling that's too strong to rip out of the ground if I'm trying to set up a fence. It's been a lifesaver tool to add to my pocket. So yeah, that one's kind of important. Something, I don't know, see what you guys think. A good headlamp. That has been something that, like, for real,
yeah.
I use that every single day as my headlamp. I use a O-light.
Yep.
A friend of mine gave me my first O-light and kind of created a monster, and now I have, like, everybody in the house has a O-light. I have like 4 of them. I carry one in my back pocket as well as having a headlamp. Yeah, having a good headlamp is a must.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have mine here. This is mine. If you can see that, it's a Phoenix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
showed
love
me
it
that
too.
one. That one's awesome.
I used like, yeah, I used I had a Milwaukee one, and it's just not good for like seeing far. You can see like up to your hands, but sometimes you need, it's not very good if you want to see like a distance.
Definitely use one all winter long, that's for sure. This time of the year, not so much, but soon.
Yeah.
It's getting dark here earlier now, so pretty soon I'll be breaking mine back out.
Yeah.
What kind of headlamp you use, Al?
I don't know the brand, but it's a rechargeable one. It's like what Jason just had, but it wasn't a Phoenix. I don't remember. It's something we got off Amazon. When I had a mechanical garage, I had one. I had like 2 or 3 different rechargeable ones, and I think pretty much all day long I had a headlamp on because when you're working on a car up over your head, it was so much easier just to have a headlamp and be working, and you never had to have a flashlight. You could just you could always see and freed up one hand. So they're definitely handy for many things.
Yeah. For those flashlights,
Yep.
I think you have one, Ben. It's like a floodlight.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
I
spotlight.
have a
Click
DeWalt,
on.
so that way you could like open your back door and shine the light and see if your chickens are had went to bed.
Right.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
so without having to go out there, it's so bright.
Yep.
Okay, having a good strong spotlight is nice. You can reach out and see everywhere on your property as long as there's not trees in the way.
What about chore boots? Would you consider that a tool?
It's not
I
cool,
would,
but
but that's a
yeah.
sore subject with me.
Would you?
I can't find boots that'll last. I heard,
Oh.
gosh, it was I can't think of the guy's name. There's a guy I was listening to, and he was swearing up and down about Hycia boots and how he's had them the same pair for 2 years. It was like, all right, I'll try them. Yeah, they're already falling apart, and I've only had them like 2 months. So, boots, yes,
Really?
that is a must, but I cannot find boots that will last longer than 6 months.
I know we never have luck with bogs. They don't keep the ones that are rated for like winter use, they don't keep our feet warm. They like your feet freeze instantly. And then for us, at least in our area, we find that they're very slippery. They don't have any traction. Um, they don't make them anymore, but Ariat made them for a while. We had decent luck with theirs.
Yeah, Lorraine had some area ones, and she's had them for a while, and like I want to
Yep.
say like 3 or 4 years, and that's a long time for boots. And just this year they started to
Yep.
get a hole in them, but they don't make them anymore. They don't make
No,
them anymore.
Yep.
they made them for like a year or two
Those
because
are
I
the
had a
best
pair.
rubber
Mine
boots.
lasted, I think, yeah, mine lasted
Yeah,
a year or two. Gina still has hers, and she uses them daily.
I have the extra tough boots. I like those.
Yep.
And they've lasted at least 2 years, which is pretty good, I think. Um, but what I find is if you buy two, you got to buy two, and
Gotta buy 2.
you alternate the boots, and don't, you're not just using those one boots. You just alternate them like throughout the year, and they last longer.
Right?
I've
They
noticed that
last
too.
twice as long.
Yeah,
I have lacrosse rubber boots right now, which are good for outdoor stuff, but Not so good if you're always out and stepping in poo because they're very aggressive treads and you kind of have a dirty tread for a lot of the time.
So you need like snow boots, Al, don't you? In the winter?
Yeah. In the wintertime, I wear, yeah, snow boots. I have the lacrosse boots I usually use in the winter. They're insulated. And that's what I'll wear for doing chores and everything in the wintertime. That's why I said we don't have much luck with the bogs because they don't keep our feet warm and then they don't like the tread on them. It's like you have ice skates on. One of the great things about talking with you guys because you're in a different area, so it's nice to see like the different trends of what's going on and what works different for everybody.
Yeah,
Because we got people who listen and watch our channels from all over the place.
right. Yeah, we don't
Maybe
necessarily need
being a
snow
little
boots.
specific. Like the way my boots fall apart is from stepping on like posts, the step-in posts for like the chicken netting or moving the cow around with those rebar posts. Um, the sole right where I'm stepping just starts shredding, and eventually the entire sole just separates from the boot. And so once they start separating, the whole boot's no longer waterproof. So I've got a whole bunch of boots floating around that the right boot is completely worn out and the left boot is, still decent. So that's kind of been the main thing that wears them out. Or the problem I've had is right at the ankle where your foot bends, they all split right there, right where you're always bending. And as soon as that split happens, you're not waterproof anymore. So that's where I wear out my boots.
Nope.
Yeah, I do it where when I take off, when you take off your boots when you go inside and you use your other foot to take them off instead of
Yep.
like right there at the heel, that right there always gets a hole on me.
Hmm,
And
that's
once they get that
frustrating.
once they get a hole, like yeah, once they get that hole, like forget it. Like having wet feet is not fun. So what about you, Al?
So I'm gonna
What you
go
got?
kind of in like an order of what we use every day. It's kind of what I wrote down. I was like, what we use pretty much daily. So the big one I'm gonna say is our side by side. We use the side by side daily for chores, for checking on the animals, feeding the animals, and then for moving the milk and sled, and then we're moving pasture. We use it. We probably don't need it, but it's one of those things. It's a convenience. It makes everything a lot quicker and a little bit more fun, I think. So it's kind of
Yeah.
when you can make everything more fun, it makes it more enjoyable. But and then I would say the tractor. So you could if you could have one or the other, I guess. I like the side by side more for chore stuff because it's light impact versus the tractor. If you're driving your tractor on the pastures and everything, you kind of. So I try to limit the use for the tractor driving around all over the place.
If you had to pick
And
one,
then
Al,
I don't know
Al,
what you.
if you had to pick one,
It depends on the job. If I had to pick one for
like
everyday homestead use, I would say the side by side
like what
because you
you do
got you got.
now, like currently, like you have milk cow, you have that, you're doing what you're doing now. I guess
If we
what would
work,
you pick? The tractor?
I don't know. I have more fun on the side by side, and I would say for what we do now, I use the side by side more
Okay.
for like everyday animal use. For building and construction, I use the tractor, and then like mowing the pastures and stuff like that, we use the tractor a lot. But
Okay.
just for going around and like daily animal routine stuff, it would be the side by side. And then I wrote some fun ones down. I think they're kind of fun. Ratchet straps. You guys use ratchet straps when you're working for like a
Mm,
second set of hands to tie things together or get things to work?
Mm, not really.
no, not really.
No.
No. Oh,
I
not
mean, I tie
really.
stuff down with them in the when I gotta pull something, but like not like working.
Not working. No.
Really?
Now if I got like some boards that I can't get to work together, if I'm trying to hold something together, I'll use the ratchet straps. Or I used to always pick stuff up with the tractor. And if it's not meant to be picked up by a tractor, but I don't want it to fall out of the bucket, I'll ratchet
Yeah.
strap it in.
Yeah, I do that.
But and then I guess clamps. I use clamps all the time, especially
Yeah.
working by myself.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I
clamps are very
I didn't
important.
like break it down, but I'd say yeah. I'd say battery operated tools. I didn't break it down to like, circular saw or drill, but I'd clump it together with battery operated tools. But that was one of the things I was just thinking, because the first time I got tools when we moved back up here, it was like a set, it was like circular saw, battery operated drill, sawzall, a light. I think that's it. But I was just thinking about that. And I was like, you know what? This is the time of the year. Well, not yet, but coming up like November. Those tools seem to go on sale really good. You can
Yep.
get a lot of tools like almost half off, it seems like.
I
So
know.
if you're looking to get any hand tools, keep your eye out for, I feel like Christmas season or before Christmas season, you can get some hot deals. We switched to Milwaukee. Shouldn't say switch, but we got a lot of Milwaukee tools last year, the year before. And the biggest reason we got the Milwaukee is Home Depot had them on sale there. Some of them were like 60 to 80% off. I'm like, well, I need the new. So we ended
Whoa.
up getting a lot of Milwaukee because they had some huge deals going on. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for tools, now's the time, or soon will be the time to start getting some.
Oh, I know. Lorraine gets mad at me every year at the end of the year because, December is my birthday. So right around that time, I'm usually buying myself something. And Lorraine's like,
Right.
he says, I have nothing to buy you for your birthday now because you already buy it before your birthday.
When's your birthday?
But I think it's one of those things that makes it so much more convenient.
17th, December.
December 17th.
Yeah,
How old
mine's
you
the
gonna be?
28th of December.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
Two
ooh,
December
Yeah.
boys.
Sagittarius.
Uh, no, Capricorn.
I'll be
It's a
45.
goat.
45. What
Yeah.
was that, Ben?
No, I'm just a goat. I think that's Capricorn. That's when mine is. Yeah, I have always actually hated when my birthday was because I always get the combo birthday Christmas present. That's
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
like, yeah, thanks.
Here's the drill, and then they give you a battery to go with it for your birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that terrible? Like when you were growing up, for you guys being like that close to Christmas, like with your birthday parties, they not get
Uh,
celebrated or?
Not me. I mean, I think I was still, there was a distance there, so I never got that. Or maybe I was just spoiled.
No, it is what it is. Honestly, you know what really sucked is because my birthday was it's after Christmas. Generally, every year on my birthday, I'm sick. Like flu comes around, stuff like that. I'm
Mm.
usually sick right after Christmas, anyways. Like that week between Christmas and New Year's, traditionally, I'm usually sick that week.
You mentioned ratchet straps, but I have been using lately, it seemed this year, uh, bungee cords. Um, Specifically, there's a brand out there called the Perfect Bungee, and they're just different kind of bungee cords. Like the old school rubber bungee cords that
Yep.
you would get, and like you would try to stretch it, and it just doesn't even stretch. Uh, well, this company started making some that look like that, but except they're actually bungee cords that you could stretch. And the only place I found that has those is Home Depot,
Interesting.
and Lowe's doesn't have them. I think you can get them on Amazon. But I just went to Home Depot and I bought a bunch, and I was like, man, these are cool, like, because they're just different. Like you could kind of adjust the strap, and they stretch uh, pretty easy. So I bought a bunch of those and been using those on when I like hauling water up, just to tie stuff down so they don't tip over like feed and stuff. Um, so yeah, I guess that's a tool I've been using.
Did either of you guys write down 5-gallon buckets on their list of tools?
No, that's like a necessity though.
Yeah, that's that's definitely up there. Yes, that should be up there.
Yeah.
They could be,
right?
yeah, they could be hauling everything up there. Yeah, I think every winter I say, you know what, I should just buy a big old pallet of buckets, like in bulk. Just like a bucket, like a pallet full of bulk buck. I don't know how many that is, but I probably should just buy that and just store it.
So at epackagesupply.com, you can get a pallet of buckets, 5-gallon buckets, and you get 120 buckets.
Wow.
I was over here looking it up. That's awesome.
I'm over here looking it up. 120 buckets.
I wonder how much per bucket, how much that costs per bucket. Because
Right.
over here, man, buckets are like, I buy the white food grade buckets. Those are like $7, $8.
They are. They're not cheap
Yeah,
nowadays, it's for sure.
they get very expensive.
So $700. So you're still not saving much.
But you have a ton of buckets.
You do.
I would probably use them even if I don't really need to use them.
Right.
You know?
So it costs you more money.
Yeah. Like there'd be buckets just like sprayed all over the yard. Like, just get a bucket. Just get a new bucket.
Just get a new bucket. I left the other
Yeah.
one in the woods.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll get
I
it
don't know
tomorrow.
where all my buckets are. There's a stack of them. Just get a new one.
So have you decided, Ben, if you're doing any pig classes this winter or fall? I know you talked about that in a previous
Yeah,
podcast.
there's going to be some. We haven't scheduled any classes
Sure.
yet, but pretty much a guarantee as soon as it gets cold and we decide. I don't know if I'm going to
Yep.
sell tickets early or just, give like a 3 or 4 week heads up or something like that, but most definitely there's going to be a few classes. Tell you what, I'm about ready for these feeder pigs
Nice.
to go away. They have hollow legs. I don't know where they're putting the feed, but
Yeah.
How much do you go through a week?
I think right now just them, they're probably eating, that's a bag every other day. So I don't know, 24 pounds a day, I think is what they're eating. Um,
How
so, I
many?
mean, that's not real bad. There's 3 of them. But,
Okay.
as they get bigger, that number's going up. So I imagine by
Hmm.
the end, they're going to be eating between the 3 of them. They could probably put away 50 pounds a day if I'd let them.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours is starting to get big, and I'm gonna say like every 5 days they're going through like a bag of grain.
Do you buy your feed in
That's
bulk,
pretty
Al?
good.
We didn't this year, but we normally do. I didn't have a place to store it under
Mm.
cover. But what I found, usually if we buy it bulk in the past, when we were doing it with conventional grain, we could save a couple of bucks a bag. But now that we get organic grain, if we buy it bulk, they won't give us a discount.
Really?
So we just buy it. Yeah. He says he doesn't make as much money off a bag of organic, so we can't give a discount, which that's fine. So we just buy it. So this year I'm like, well, I might as well just let him get fresh grain and, go there every couple of weeks and pick up a few bags.
Oh, yeah. That's right. You go get it. Yeah. That's so nice
I
that you could
went
go get it.
to, right, we actually went, Redmond's sent us up some, it's a soil amendment that they're coming out with it's like salts, minerals, and chicken poo, or it's all organic.
Hmm.
And one of our local mills in the area got it trucked up to them, so I went and picked that up. What was that, last Thursday or Friday? And I was talking with them over at the mill, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can buy it direct from us. You have to buy a pallet." So I'm assuming if we get it from them, we can probably get a discount. And I was like, "Well, if I get a pallet, can I mix and match the bags?" And they said you could. So, and they sell a
Okay.
bunch of organic grain. So that was good to know. They're probably like a half hour, that mill, from our house.
Nice.
So
That's not bad at all.
next year we'll probably, you know, especially with
Yeah.
having the workshop, now we can get a pallet load and, put it in the workshop and just kind of sit it in the corner, and it shouldn't be in our way too much.
Right.
It's nice having it on hand so that way if you need it or when you need it, you're not like, oh, I don't have any grain today. Go run to the feed store.
No, that's so convenient. Wish we had that. We should start one, Ben.
Should.
Jason and Ben's feed store, hardware, and notary.
There you
A
go.
notary. There you go.
Yeah.
And notary. You'll have
Yes.
two notaries.
Yeah. I know. Every time I'm like, man, I wish we had that. I'm like, what would it take for me to do that? And then Lorraine says no, and slaps me or something, and then I'm like, okay.
Uh, just one more iron in the fire. Why not?
That'd be fun. So we're going to be doing our first speaking gig at the Homesteaders of New England conference coming up second weekend in September. I think the 9th and the 11th.
Oh, that's coming up. You
That's
you
coming
ready
up
for
quick.
that?
No, not yet. I'm mentally preparing and I'm getting like everything in my head straightened out. And then I guess I should probably take notes and put notes down so that way I know talking in front of like a group of people, it's not like making a video, So I should have notes, and we're going to be just talking about building a homestead in a northern climate. So
You have you have a PowerPoint?
do I have a PowerPoint? No, it's what I got it in my head. I'm just saying I got to kind of type it out.
Are you going to do a PowerPoint?
No,
Or are you just going to talk?
I don't think. I'm just going to talk. I don't think they got a
Oh.
setup for a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I didn't go
PowerPoints.
last year.
PowerPoint does help, but I realize
Yep.
not everyone's set up. No, not every conference is set up for one, but
That's a good idea. I'll have to make that note. So I probably won't do that this year, but I'll know for next year if we're doing the other ones.
just
Kinda
a
keep me on
visual,
topic. Yeah.
even if it's just playing your videos on a loop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll have that conference going on in a couple of weeks. And right now, if you get your tickets, they're still $25 for the weekend. So this podcast will go out Friday. So if you listen to the podcast before midnight on Friday, you can get them for $25 for the weekend. The tickets go up to $35 for the weekend after Friday. I still think that's a pretty good deal.
That's a great price. I mean,
That is a great
Yeah.
deal.
you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm going to be meeting Ginger from McMurray Hatchery. She's going to be going.
Cool.
I talk back and forth on email with them quite a bit,
Yeah.
but never met
Ginger's
him in person.
nice. Yeah, she's super cool.
Yeah.
They're cool. They're really good people.
Tom was supposed to go, but yeah, we really like working with McMurray, and we've had really good luck with their egg layers and their meat birds. So, you guys got any other conferences going on in your area? I know
Not
you get
really.
the HOA. Well, that's somewhat in your area, but that comes up soon. But
No plans as of
no
right
plans.
now to go anywhere.
Yeah.
We're just gonna be at home, no plans to
Yeah.
do anything. See if I'll probably just stay home and see if Ben needs help butchering any animals, because I know he has a bunch of animals to butcher.
I think Ben
Yeah, I'll
should
need
do
the
a
help.
side by side with a guinea and a feeder pig. That'd be interesting, I think,
Oh,
to
yeah.
see side by side, especially like the carcass, to see the difference.
Yep.
The guinea hogs will still be a little bit small, but we're probably just going to do
Um,
them that way we don't have as many mouths to feed over the winter. But yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty much the plan. It'll be like a 2-pig workshop per class. There's probably going to be around 3 classes. We don't have anything set in stone yet, but that's what I've got in my head we're going to do. Yeah, it's going to be cool having side by side. And it's like, here is a heritage breed. Here is a fast growing, more modern pig. One is all the lard you'll need for a year, and this one's not. So yeah, it'll be cool.
Is the meat different, like color of the meat or anything? That's what I'm curious to see too. Like, what's
Having done pigs like this in the past compared to the guinea hog, I mean, the guinea hog will be red and dark and just delicious looking,
Red.
and the feeder
Yep.
pigs will still be kind of red. Like it's not going to look like store-bought pork, but it's definitely not going to look like guinea hog pork either. So, yeah, it'll be cool. I'll have to send you a picture of what
Do the
one
guinea
of these
hog-
pigs look like.
do the guinea hogs have like marbling in the meat or anything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, very marbled, very red.
Okay.
Beautiful meat.
Interesting. Yep. Now, how would you say they compare to Jason's for grazing wise? Because you were saying Jason's just, you were surprised with how his coonies do on the grass.
If I put my guinea hogs on the grass, there's not going to be grass within 2 hours.
No.
They'll just till everything up.
Wow.
Mine are mini pork cows. Mine are mini cows.
Mini pork cows.
They don't.
Now, have you butchered any coonies yet, Jason?
No. Nope.
No.
So I'm waiting to see. Probably next year we'll butcher one of these, if not all of them, the ones we have now. The piglets. They might be ready to go by next fall, I'm thinking.
Now, are you keeping track on how much you have to feed them?
I kind of know. I mean, I feed them like 2 cups a day. Yeah, 2 cups a day each.
Then what do you do in the winter? Do you give them hay?
Last year we gave them some hay and we fed them a little bit more. Yeah. But still, It's not like a feeder pig. Just not much for them to eat still. But I still moved them around.
Right. So what about the guinea hogs, Ben, in the wintertime? What do they? We might change their diet up a little bit.
No, for the most part, they just stay on the same ration. When it gets cold, I'll up their feed. Like when it gets real cold, I'll give them free choice feed. But we really only have to deal with cold weather, a couple days at a time, every so often.
Yep.
But for the most part, they just, they all get their ration and food scraps and stuff like that. And then there's not a whole lot of vegetation to eat during the winter, so I pretty much just park them until they start digging, and that's when I move them. There's like rooting around, and then there's digging, and when they start digging, I start moving them. So, yeah, I don't really increase the feed too much.
Now, do you give them hay in the winter, or would they want to eat hay in the winter, do you think?
Yeah, I try to keep bedding in their little house just so they, can stay warm. But if the hay is like too nice, because for bedding, I just try to give them the hay the cow won't eat. But if the hay's too nice, they eat it. So that's been the struggle with the guinea hogs. They love hay. I think what's frustrating is like they can get fat off of hay. And so if you're trying to keep them kind of trim and you give them a bale of hay so they have some bedding, something to get out of the mud, then all of a sudden the bale's gone and they look like little sausages with legs. It's like, okay, I guess I have to ration your hay now too.
How is hay for you guys to get down that way? Is that easy to get your hands on, or is that hard?
I've got quite a few
just hay in
connections.
general, or no spray?
Yeah, no spray.
How was it with the milk cow? Was it easy? Like, could you get good hay for the cow?
Yeah, so once you start, once you're in the mode of needing unsprayed hay, everybody sprays, and so it's really hard to find good unsprayed hay. But it's one of those, it's networking. The more people we talked to, the more we made connections, and just all of a sudden, now we've got hookups on hay. And then, like being friends with my neighbor down the street, he cut a whole bunch of hay this year, and it's all unsprayed. And so, I'm getting great big giant round bales for $40 a bale, which is an amazing price. And it's actually really decent hay. Like I've paid for hay from the feed store that's not even as good as this. And you ask them if it's unsprayed, and they're like, well, I don't know. So, yeah, it's who you know. You got to make friends and you got to make connections and make sure you keep those connections once you find something that you need.
I guess that's all the tools that we normally use. I'm sure there's more out there, but that'll be part 2 later on down the road. So I appreciate everyone listening and watching this podcast, and made it to episode 10. So thank you everyone for supporting us and watching us. And hopefully you guys have a good week, exciting week, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
Later.